Welcome into NFL in a Flash here on Sports Radio WNML.com with Joel Silverberg. I'm Eric Kane. And Joel, conference championship weekend is in the books. Super Bowl 53 is set. It's the New England Patriots, shocker, and the Los Angeles Rams. Let's go ahead and start with the first game last week, the NFC tilt. A lot of controversy at the end there. The Saints believe they kind of got jibbed to go into the Super Bowl. A huge no call, which would have been pass interference to set up the Saints on first and goal with about a minute 45 left.
Yeah, I do think it's actually the worst call in any sport of any officiating period in sports history. I mean, there's been a lot of really big miscues, but the league has admitted that the call was blown. The Rams admitted that the call was blown. I mean, Nickel Roby-Coleman admitted, I thought I was getting flagged. He looked around expecting to see the flag, and it didn't happen. So now I don't know what the NFL can do about it, but going back to the Rams, a really good team that is well equipped. Call it what you will. That's still a good football team. I mean, they were in that situation for a reason. Now, should they be there? That's going to go back and forth. I don't know if that's going to prove that sports karma is going to come into play and give the Patriots the win. If the Patriots beat the Rams because the Patriots are a better team, these are two really, really good football teams that are complete on offense. They have opportunistic defenses. They have guys in the secondary that can make plays. So it should be a fun matchup, but I do think with New Orleans losing that lead, not running it on first down is obviously going to come back to potentially haunt Sean Payton, but he's still trying to put his team in a position to win it with the next two plays. But I do think the Rams, they've got all the tools that they can compete with anybody. They're finally healthy, which is huge. That's a big reason that they were competitive with the Rams or with the Saints up to that point, and it's a big reason that they're going to have a real shot against the Patriots next weekend.
C.J. Anderson really came on the last month of the season, was huge, along with Todd Gurley in the divisional round. Todd Gurley, only 4 carries. He did have a touchdown. Wasn't really a big part of the game plan in the Superdome on Sunday. Your thoughts on Gurley's play there, and is that anything to worry about moving on against the Patriots?
I think so. I mean, to me, it has to be an injury. I can't imagine Todd Gurley having an attitude problem that would have caused Sean McVay to pull him in that stage. And he was on the field on his feet. He was on the sideline, still in his pads. He was doing warm-up stretches. And then after the game, he said, I didn't deserve to play in that game. So I'm not sure what the whole storyline is there, but Gurley comes out and says, I didn't deserve to be on the field. And we'll see what happens. I would have to think that something from a health standpoint would have had to have been at play there, because I don't know what other storyline could really line up with Todd Gurley, one of the best players in the NFL, not being on the field in the biggest game of that season.
So it goes on the no call, and the Saints settle for a field goal. The Rams come back down. Greg Zuerlein drills a 47-yard field goal. The game goes into overtime, and of course, in the overtime period, Greg Zuerlein good from 57 yards. And that kick, in my opinion, could have been good from 65 yards. Absolutely, Joe. How big was Greg Zuerlein in that? I mean, obviously he was huge, but in that pressure, those 2 pressure kicks, I mean, that's about as big as they get.
Yeah, Greg the Leg. He's been awesome for the Rams ever since coming into the league. He's been one of the strongest kickers in the NFL, and yeah, that was major. And that game-tying field goal, the 48-yarder, looked like it was splicing to the right. And it's like a golfer. They say you got to trust your swing. Zuerlein trusts his swing. That's a clutch kick, and you're right. Both kicks looked like they would have been good from 60, but a 57-yarder, it's such a big risk there too, because if you miss it, New Orleans gets the ball at their own 47, and they only need a field goal. So you're talking about 20 yards for Will Lutz, who's also a very talented field goal kicker. You are essentially, they talk about how the Chiefs-Patriots game came down to a coin toss. That is essentially a 50-50 play. It's not a high percentage kick. I don't care how powerful of a kicker you are. That's a tough field goal to make. So Greg Zuerlein, he's been great for the Rams since coming to, even from the St. Louis days. He's been great for the Rams franchise, and 2 very clutch kicks. If the Rams win the Super Bowl, they might have some sort of plaque for him somewhere around the stadium.
Certainly so. And then you look at the nightcap, the AFC. Patriots got out in front a little bit. Chiefs came back. A really solid game from Patrick Mahomes. Damian Williams, not the best day running the football, but he did have a hat trick, two receiving touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. But it all came down there towards the end. Another overtime game. Rex Burkhead was good from 2 yards out. And on that overtime drive, this is why Tom Brady is one of the best. Not only did he take the Patriots down the field to tie the game to get in overtime, but 13 plays, didn't even give Mahomes and the Chiefs offense a chance, and they score on that opening drive of the overtime period, and now they're Super Bowl bound. So what did you see? What did you like from the Patriots in that game?
Yeah, Tom Brady, the first and only quarterback ever to win 3 postseason overtime games. His opponents have not touched the football in any of the 3 of them. Now, the first one was the Tuck Rule game where you only needed a field goal on the first possession. Of course, the Super Bowl from a couple years ago being the second, but I thought with Tom Brady, what he was able to do on third down. Patriots offensive line giving him a lot of time against a really good Kansas City pass rush. The roughing the passer call, I don't even know how to explain it.
You can't hit in the head. You can't hit down low. He was reaching over a tackle and hit him right here.
His pinky grazed the face mask. There's contact with the face mask, not enough to warrant a penalty. So I don't understand.
And NFL players were coming out. J.J. Watt was, that's his job. He's saying, what do I do? Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, and now the thing is, here's the thing. If that ends up being an incomplete pass, Tom Brady probably converts a first down in the next play anyway. So that's just the kind of day it was for Tom Brady. So good on third down, finding Julian Edelman over the middle time and time again. They finally got the matchup they wanted. The Chiefs took away Eric Berry away from Rob Gronkowski. They got him one-on-one on the outside. That sets up the touchdown by Rex Burkhead in overtime. So that sets up the game go-ahead touchdown in the fourth quarter, I believe. Yeah. But still a big play for Rob Gronkowski, who's kind of had an up-and-down season. He's been banged up at times. But Tom Brady just phenomenal and continues to show why he's the greatest quarterback of all time. A game-winning drive in the fourth quarter if the defense gets a stop, and then the game-winning drive in overtime. So 2 game-winning drives for Tom Brady in a span of about 10 minutes. It's unbelievable what he's able to do in those situations time in and time out. But Patriots defense got off to a good start, put them in that situation. Mahomes was fantastic. Thought you got 2 really good, really competitive conference championship games. Unfortunate the way that the NFC title game ended, but I thought the AFC championship game, you just had 2 quarterbacks that put on a show.
Hashtag bet against us is the Patriots motto. And of course, the Super Bowl 53 field is set. It's the Patriots against the Rams, and we'll break that down next week prior to the Super Bowl. But real quick before we get out of here, Joel, I want to get your thoughts on the Pro Bowl. They've kind of revamped it in recent years. They've gone back traditional AFC against NFC after experimenting with team captains and a draft-like situation. Last night was a skills contest, if you want to call it that. Your overall thoughts on where the Pro Bowl is nowadays? I mean, we talked about it earlier. I'm going to watch it simply because I'm a football fan. But in terms of other all-star games for other professional leagues, I mean, it's at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, it's at the bottom. It's quite at the bottom. And even if you went beyond the 4 major pro sports, I think there are other miscellaneous competitions in other sports that you would find more entertaining. I'm not really a huge fan of it. I mean, you've had a couple competitive games in recent years. But until there's some real incentive with the way that injuries are, you're going to have players not trying. You're going to have players skipping out on it because everybody's a Pro Bowler nowadays. Yeah. Back in the 90s, being a Pro Bowler meant something. It was essentially the same as an All-Pro selection. Nowadays, you have a lot of players that are saying, we just want to continue doing what we're doing, and we don't really want to go to the Pro Bowl. So especially when it's not in Hawaii every year, so you're not getting to take your family to Hawaii. So there's not enough incentive for players to be interested in the NFL's Pro Bowl.
Pro Bowl this Sunday, 4 o'clock, and then, of course, Super Bowl 53 next Sunday, and we'll break that all down for you here on NFL in a Flash next week. With Joel Silverberg, I'm Eric Kane. Thanks so much for tuning in. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.